All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Thursday, February 6th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. You are listening to All in Horns, brought to you by Rogue Sports Network. This is our immediate reaction. The game, ended, 5 minutes ago, Jake, and then we've hit record. So this is our immediate reaction, live response to the game. Texas losing to Arkansas. And a game probably where you thought you felt fairly confident about going into this game, but losing 78-70, 8-point loss, made it look closer than it actually was. And so I think scoreboard watchers are going to think that, oh, Texas, barely lost to Arkansas. No, they kind of got beat down by Arkansas. It was an ugly game. And I never felt like Texas had a real shot at winning this. Really until, after about 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah. That first half performance was on offense, especially, was an all-time stinker. 24 points a half. And just kind of anytime you want to start to really buy into this team, they just lay a performance that isn't good. And to be fair, they really hadn't had a bad performance like this in a little while, but it came at a really bad time to do it. Because if you win this game, again, you get to 500 in conference play, and you have two really tough games coming up, but then you have your by far easiest stretch of the season to close it out, and those last like 5 or 6 games. And so you'd be in a position to end the SEC in a winning record. And you still can, and you definitely still are if you beat the teams that you should beat to close it out. But losing this game just feels bad. Arkansas did just get off a big road win at Kentucky, but you have them at home.
Yeah.
And all they had to do was just play okay basketball, especially in that first half. And they were just missing shot. And I was talking to you briefly about it during the game, and I think we kind of both agreed, like, we've blamed the coaching in a lot of games this season. This was a game on the players.
Yeah.
This was
a poor played performance from the players on the court that lost this game. I don't think I saw anything systematically or schematically that I was just frustrated at Rodney Terry for doing or not doing. It was more so the offense was attempting to be where it's been in terms of ball movement, spacing, all the things. But it just wasn't executed very well at all tonight on the court.
No, the shooting was ugly. They had 12 assists, which is bad, not as bad as we've seen at times, but
it's back on track to where it was playing poorish basketball to start conference play at.
Granted, not even. It's 12 assists on 22 made shots.
Yeah. Well,
so they assisted on more than half their
shots. Yeah.
So. Which is typically a pretty good ratio, but 6 to 22 from the 3-point line, 20-27 from the free throw line. I will take that. They've been actually one of the bright sides of this team has been they've been a pretty darn good free throw shooting team
at the college level. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for a college team, and especially for Texas teams we've seen in the past, they've won some games from the free throw line this season. This was not one of those, but 11 turnovers. Again, that's not terrible. It's right on that borderline. But it's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. But the shooting was just horrific for large stretches. And it felt like they had open looks they were missing as well. One of the more incredible stats in this game is this Texas team has rebounded pretty well this season, despite not having a big man, and they had 13 offensive rebounds to Arkansas's 3.
Yeah, and they've been fairly undersized. It's felt in almost every game against games like Tennessee, Auburn. You just feel like you're undersized, and But the fact that they have been rebounding as well as they have, kind of through this back end or this middle portion, I guess, of the SEC schedule, that's been an encouraging sign, because that means effort and positioning and fundamental basketball is being coached, because you don't get rebounds just by not being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, especially when you're undersized. But being undersized is a flaw of the team construction, which is on Rodney Terry.
Yes.
Not getting a big man in the portal. I mean, it's one thing when you don't get your top targets. That's going to happen. Texas in basketball is not what they are in football. You are not the top destination school in basketball. You just aren't.
Transfer portal is where you should excel.
But I'm saying not getting your top couple in the transfer portal, the guys who go to a Kentucky, a Duke, a Tennessee, even. It's okay to miss on those guys, but to not get anyone for the big man position out of the portal when you knew Shedrick was going to be your best big man, and then a big drop off after that, and Shedrick is just okay to begin with. It's just a huge roster flaw. That is a big part of the reason why I don't think they'll do much in the tournament, assuming they get there to begin with. And it's frustrating just because you do have a talent like Trey Johnson that is going to be a wasted year as far as having it, because he's gone after this year without a doubt. And you're not going to have really any type of success to talk about from him being on the team for a year.
No, yeah, it's that I think is a very disappointing, aspect to this season, because you're right. This team should be playing at a much higher caliber level, but they're just not, and they've fallen short of any expectations that you and I had set for them, or that we thought that we could expect from them. But yeah, I do think the transfer portal is where you, for a program like Texas with the resources that it has, I think can excel in the transfer portal more so than you can at the recruiting level, because you are going to miss out on your very few to choose from blue chip players on a year in, year out basis in the basketball ranks. And you only have so many roster spots to fill those spots with, and they always go to the Dukes and the North Carolinas. So yeah, you're already at a slight disadvantage unless you can build this program up to where we thought we were headed. But I think we've plateaued, even kind of taken a little bit of a reverse path with Rodney Terry at the helm. And I don't think there's any more time to stay stagnant at a university like Texas. So
we kind of plateaued with him. I mean, the 10 years before him, even Chris Beard's first year, they weren't winning any tourney games. And there hasn't been a year where Rodney Terry's been the head coach and they haven't won in at least the first round.
Yeah. But again, we haven't really expected the highest since we got there.
We haven't seen growth like you would want to. And it feels like this year is really a down year, but I just like to put things in. I'm not trying to defend Rodney Terry. I've already said I would be looking for a new head coach after this season. I still stand by that, but I also think there should be more perspective.
I would say that this team is definitely worse than the teams that he's taken further into the tournament, which would be a little bit of a step back to where we've been with him in year 3.
Yeah, they've gotten worse each year because they went to the Elite Eight the first year. They went to the second round last year.
Trajectory.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with the downward trajectory. I'm just saying, it's not like the before Rodney Terry was not anything. It was lower. It was even lower, but it doesn't really matter because he took over a team. The Elite Eight year is deceiving because it was a team that it wasn't constructed by him.
Correct.
And now you're seeing flaws in his roster construction. You're seeing flaws in his hires for his staff, which then causes schematic issues.
And player development is not as high as it probably should be.
Yeah, you're seeing some of these 4-star recruits from last year in their second year now and just aren't getting playing time. Yeah. And so it's I just try to be on the other side because everything is so negative towards Rodney Terry. I do like to at least bring up he still won a tournament game last year. It's not like he hasn't been making the tournament.
No.
Or making the tournament losing to Abilene Christian. Texas basketball is never going to be a Final Four contender every single season.
Sure.
I don't think they'll ever be that.
No.
But they should be better than this. And then when you do get a big time blue chip recruit like Trey Johnson, you should be better than this. Though, granted, part of their issue is every time a game turns fully Trey Johnson centric, they typically lose. I mean, 22 shots for Trey Johnson, and only 2 for Mark, 6 for Pope, 11 for Kaluma's fine. He kind of had an off game, but that's just not a good shot distribution for this team ever. It should never be that outweighed.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, Jake. Closing remarks for me is I'm starting to kind of slowly lose my optimism moving forward with this team in terms of what they can and cannot accomplish. I can kind of go into games expecting the worst, hoping for the best, I guess, and just hoping for, a stretch of games where they kind of can maybe change their tune. Again, they've been playing well. I think where I'm get disappointed in this game more so than the other games, like against Ole Miss or whatever, is you were still playing a good brand of basketball, even though you weren't necessarily winning, or you did win, but you lost close, whatever it was. You're still playing a good brand of basketball. This game was just a stinker, man. This one did not look good. And
yeah, the
it was
scoreboard
over
should
10
show a 20-point loss.
Yeah. And so that's kind of where I'm at thinking about this game. Is just, man, what a letdown of a brand of basketball, like how you were playing for about 5 to 6 games. And then just to lay this egg, I was like, oh, that kind of halted all momentum that we were building going into the hardest stretch with Alabama and Kentucky and even a Vanderbilt team.
Yeah. And I mean, the stands were full, but they gave the fans no reason to be into this game.
Right.
There was a lack of energy from the team to start out. And I think it was player issues, like I said. But yeah, I mean, this is the most disappointing performance of the season because you finally were feeling a little optimism towards where they were going, and then you lose this game. And now it's going to take beating Alabama or Kentucky to feel any type of positiveness towards where the season could end.
Right.
Which, like we've said, to us should be, when you have a talent like Trey Johnson, making the Sweet 16 to me is always like you get to the second weekend of the tournament.
Yeah.
And then it's hard after that. I mean,
it's kind of
getting to the Sweet 16 is hard. And that to me was like, for me, Texas, to me, where Texas should be as a program is consistently making Sweet 16s.
Yeah.
And then
Round of
trying to
32s
getting some deeper runs here and there.
Yeah.
But consistently being a top 16 team in the country, I think is a pretty realistic area we could see for this team. We've seen them be that, in the past with Rick Barnes. And so if Rodney Terry can't do that, which it doesn't look like he is the guy for that. And I know some of the fan base is a little split on that. It's like, he's only been there for a year and a half. It just doesn't matter when there's some of the fatal flaws. You're starting to see that are being consistent with him.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Jake, that's everything I got. You got anything else?
I don't want to talk about this game anymore.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
It so, again, drop these episodes each weekday, Tuesday through Saturday at noon. We will have an episode at noon as well, and that is around the same time that Texas will tip off against Vanderbilt. But you can put us on subscribe, get an alert, save that, and then watch the game, and then watch what we thought was going to happen in that game. Either see how right we were or how very wrong we were immediately after, but have a good laugh either way. So that is going to do it for today's episode. This is your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns right here on All In Horns. Like, share, and subscribe. That is Jake Jimerson. I am Tanner Carlson. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.